Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to share my browser. Okay. All right. So today is April 16th, 2026. Welcome to the KubeStellar community meeting. This is a bi-weekly meeting, and we hold it at the same time every 2 weeks. We have these meetings are posted after they are completed to our YouTube channel, and that YouTube channel is at kubestellar.io/TV. And you can also join our mailing group and get access to this artifact that you see in front of us, our agenda, by going to kubestellar.io/join_us or join us. We have a Slack channel called kubestellar-dev. You go to the Cloud Native CNCF inviter, get an invite there first, and then you can join our channel by clicking on that link. Our documentation's at KubeStellar.io, and we have Google Drive out there. We don't use it very much, so it's not really that much in the way of, there's not really much of a need to look at it. But our agenda is here at /agenda, and you get access to that through Join Us. All right, if you have any topics that you'd like to discuss, add them to the bottom of the current meeting agenda, which is for April 16th. And I always read this. This is our contributor code of conduct. As part, we're proud members of the CNCF community as a sandbox project. So, as contributors and maintainers in the CNCF community, and in the interest of fostering an open and welcoming, where am I? Open and welcoming community, we pledge to respect all people who contribute through reporting issues, posting feature requests, updating documentation, submitting pull requests or patches, and other activities. We are committed to making participation in the CNCF community a harassment-free experience for everyone, regardless of level of experience, gender identity and expression, sexual orientation, disability, personal appearance, body size, ethnicity, race, age, religion, or nationality. And basically all that mumbo jumbo just means be nice to each other. It's great to have in a few stars in a world that we live in today. Okay, so today's meeting, we're going to focus a bit more on the outcomes of what we did in KubeCon and what we're doing up ahead as far as IFOS is concerned, not only this semester but in the summer and the fall. We'll take you through a little bit of the KubeStellar bits, and we'll talk a bit about the next things that are available inside of KubeStellar console. There's been quite a few updates, so let's get started. So if you wouldn't mind, if you're an attendee and you would like to add your name and affiliation here, we'd love that. If not, that's fine too. So as I mentioned before, you can join our KubeStellar Dev Slack channel. It's in the CNCF Slack org. Get an invite and then join the channel. We were at Amsterdam, in Amsterdam from March 23rd to 26th. Paolo and Braulio gave a good talk on multi-tenancy and Kubernetes using technologies like KubeVirt, OVN, KubeFlex, and small systems like K3s, small platforms of Kubernetes platforms. But of course, that's all relevant. You can use that on just about any Kubernetes platform. So that was a good talk. Look it up online. There'll be links to see that presentation. It was very well attended, especially being for a Thursday. Folks in Europe take full day conferences very seriously and don't bail out half a day just to grab a plane. So most of those folks were commuting by train. I thought that was really cool and interesting. And so it was really nice to have a nice big crowd on a Thursday afternoon in Kubernetes and KubeCon. That's not common, at least not in the US. I was in the partner pavilion on Wednesday, the 25th, from um, from 2 to 5. That was not well attended, but it wasn't just my booth. It was really the partner pavilion or the project pavilion in general. They had placed the project pavilion off to the side of the conference and not in between the traffic flows that are normally associated with the project pavilion. And so I didn't find that it was a very good use of my time. Also, of the 3 hours, 1 hour was spent debugging a display issue where we couldn't project on the display. This was because of the Mac M1 architecture and its refusal to automatically negotiate 50 and 60 hertz with remote TVs. They did have a device on site that could make that translation, but by the time they figured it out, an hour had elapsed. So I hope for better partner Project Pavilion in the future, and we'll see how that goes. I did have a lightning talk that was very well attended. That was on the very first day. And on the Mondays of a KubeCon, you don't have much else to attend if unless you've gone to taken some of the other tracks that are not in the hall itself necessarily, and some that are in the hall. But those are tracks that you spend most of the day in. So the lightning talk is what's available for everybody who has a badge there, regardless of which tracks they're associated with. So it was very well attended, and I thought that it went well. That'll be recorded and online, and I'll also add a link to that in our channel when it does become available. Usually these things take about a month to work out in the system, so we're probably about a week away from when that will be posted. This is a great There was a great opportunity to talk to people about console and the new things that it offers and the way that it integrates with agents. Also, a lot of information about how to use agents to maintain your repo, which I'll get into a little bit later in some of the changes that have been made to console recently. Okay, so that's KubeCon EU. Any questions or comments on KubeCon EU or how to join our Slack channel? Okay, next up, IFOS, so interns for open source. We are working with two interns or two mentees for two different programs inside of the LFX internship that started in the early March and will continue for 12 weeks. In that space of time, we're doing a lot of work to help people understand how to become test engineers in this world of AI that we live in. All of consoles PRs are done via, well, 99.5% of consoles PRs are done, completed, tested, and merged via AI. So we've been at 600,000 lines of code. We have over 3,000 merged PRs. The project continues to grow. We have 91% test coverage. And so we continue to create feedback loops that help us go bigger and bigger and do more things. And the mentees are learning how to work along those lines, putting a greater emphasis on test engineering and specifications than we are in doing day-to-day code and changes of lines of code. So there's less emphasis on coding, more emphasis on testing. Things like Playwright and using automated testing for things for user experience and user interfaces are very important in this day and age of AI. AI is very good at understanding how to cobble together logic in code, but it's not so good in understanding how a z-index affects users and how they can't see certain dialogues because of the fact that the z-index is incorrect. So things like that trip it up, and I think in the future we'll have models that won't be as affected by this, but who knows? We'll see. Cornell continues to work alongside us with their software-defined farm program. They've been focusing on enclave and confidential computing. And Georgia Tech we expect to have two members join us for the summer. They worked on the kubectl multi plugin. In the summer, they'll be helping us design more rigid and stronger testing for the console project. Term 2 starts in May. We've already put in 3 applications for the CNCF to approve. We also have mentors in place for those. And those programs will be working on back-end and front-end AI test engineering, as well as mission control AI test engineering. Mission control being one of the major components or feature sets of the console. And mission control allows you quite simply to select what you want to do, let's say implement a multi-cluster solution for um, monitoring vulnerabilities and patching security holes, and then gives you the CNCF product mix that'll be best to suit for that. You select which clusters or which cluster you want to implement that on or deploy it to, and then it comes up with a step-by-step plan on how to do that. And then you can simply roll that out or dry run it or test it. I posted a video on how to do this on our channel. this came out of last time, the last time that we had a full meeting like this. So that about sums it up for our Interns for Open Source program. Are there any questions about Interns for Open Source at this time from the community? Okay. All right. We've got a couple of external maintainers in place at this time. I am looking for one more external maintainer for the console project, and we'll see over time if that's possible to recruit someone else to get there. We're looking for somebody who has not only experience with Kubernetes, has good connections in the CNCF community, and also has um, a knack for understanding what customers and clients look for and need in Kubernetes. Not only wholesale new ideas, but also supplemental ideas, especially those that accentuate the use of AI. So there's openings there. We tend not to pick anybody for this position that is a student in college or university, and the reason why is because they're not connected or associated with a business yet. Once they do graduate, though, we have one such success story of Nupur Shivani, who was an intern back in the fall, and she graduated the internship as well as her collegiate pursuits and went on to work for a company and now is a maintainer of KubeStellar console. So that was a success story and one that we hope to repeat and duplicate over time. So as you grow up and move through the contributor ladder, when you graduate and become part of a business wherever you may live or work, we'd love to have you come back and become a maintainer. Okay, that's it for IFOS, and I'll get into a demonstration of what's new in console in a couple minutes. But first, let's have Mike, if he's available, talk a little bit about the 29 release, the upcoming targeting of Kubernetes 1.3.1, and any new features that are coming out.
Okay. Yeah, actually the 0.29.0 release of KubeStellar was done a while ago. It uses Kubernetes 1.31. We're working on Kubernetes 1.32 now. There's a PR in progress, and I'm trying to land it. It has kind of a big cross section on dependencies, so there are other things waiting that will also touch dependencies, and I'm trying deliberately not doing anything with those yet. I want to get the 1.32 upgrade done. Then we can deal with other dependency issues. So that's where that's at.
Okay, thank you, Mike. All right, I don't see. I think Kevin's traveling, so there's no update on docs and website. I don't think these are issues anymore, though. Um, so I don't know what. I guess we'll wait for Kevin to return and give us an update. All right, so that concludes the meat of the program here, and we'll move on to doing some demonstrations on console. Does anybody have any questions before continuing? Okay, good. All right, so let's move on. I was in contact with a couple of folks from Microsoft this week. They work on a project called Drazi. Drazi is an event workflow system. After the call, I did some work to understand their project a bit better, and then went ahead and implemented this card and dashboard for them. This card and dashboard is so they're an event workflow system, and you can see that you have the ability to add Drazi servers, configure them after the fact, add them, and then have them in a drop-down list, select them, and then you can look at specific workflows that are there, as well as modify them to add sources, add queries, and other things. So I have to look at why those aren't. Oh, this might be in all resources, maybe. Oh, I see. Ah, that's what it did. Interesting. Okay, that's wrong. Okay, I have to fix that. But anyway, once you're all done with doing that, you can consume the stream. So the output of a Drazi workflow is the stream itself. So what are your sources? What are the queries that you want to run against those sources? And then what's the output? And so the output is very simply put here. It gives you code snippets as to what you can implement. So that's pretty cool. That was pretty simple and straightforward, but altogether, I think effective. So that about does it for that. I also went ahead and I published a paper on Archive this week regarding AI code-based maturity model. So this is based on the learnings that I've had over the past 4 months. And it started back in early December and mid-December, and it's now April. And I've learned a lot about how to code alongside AI agents. And you can download this paper, take a look at it. I'll put this in the notes here for you to look at. Basically, it talks about 5 levels of maturity that you can implement AI along with. So to help you in maintaining your repository. First level is assisted. So this is where you're basically doing like, onesie twosie kinds of things with AI. Second level is instructed. You're being a little bit more prescriptive about what you'd like AI to do for you. For instance, this is where like things like Claude.md files come into play. Measured, this is when you start to realize that there's things that the AI agent feeds back to you that you have to overcome. And these are things that you can do with things like QA bots and so forth that can read your repo, your code, and then give you issues, open issues for you on your behalf, so that you can address them. And then over time, the next level is adaptive. This is when the loops start to close themselves, where the AI is opening issues, it's also fixing the issues, and then more issues may come up as a result, and then that just becomes a continuous cycle. The last is self-sustaining, where the code itself is the model. So as your code base gets bigger and bigger, with console is now over 600,000 lines of code, the code base essentially becomes the prompt, so to speak, for or the model. It depends on how you want to characterize it. Some people have very little interpretations, others have loose interpretations of what this means. But essentially, what it means is that the agent, when it codes a PR, will, should, and does follow the instructions that you've given it to reference back into the code base to see how this has been done in the past. And what that starts to do is create a ratcheting effect whereby the instructions are updated as the code is being written, and the code is written and to against the instructions and such, so that it forms a very consistent and reliable pattern whereby the agent does better work than a human does in terms of PRs. Issues are still useful for humans and human beings to input to the system. It becomes part of the input. One of the major benefits of having humans to assist the code agents for things like specifications, feature requests, and also UI issues, because a user interface is a user interface, not an agent interface, right? So a user interface will vary. Like I said to you before, Z indexes and stuff like that are not something that are regularly understood by an agent. So let me just drop this in here. So as a result of working on that, what I went ahead and did is something that some of you may find interesting. So now you have the option. Let me show you KubeStellar's repo. So this is the console repo. Added the ability for you to get a badge to show how much or how far you've progressed in the ACMM maturity model. And right now, console is at level 4. It's adaptive and it passes 21 of 31 um, checks for that specific level. If you go back to um, console, you'll go to console.kubestellar.io ACMM. You'll get a little bit to read on as to what the different levels are, what ACMM is, and there's other source frameworks that are out there, things like Full Send, Agentic Engineering Framework, and Claude Reflect that are used alongside ACMM, the model itself, to determine if a project is adhering to this. So you could see I just did KubeFlex, which is a sister project of ours, but I can easily just go ahead and scan console. So console, you can see majority of items are ticked off, but you can, if there's any that are missing from, let's say, level 2 that I missed, something, let's say cursor, people use cursor a lot. So I can go ahead and I can see exactly what is missing, what is trying to be detected in our repo, So this is more like a lot like OpenSSF detects things in your repo, but little bit more automated. You can propose a change to that rule in our repo in our code. You can view the source for that rule, and you can also ask the agent for help. So I can ask the agent to help us implement that cursor rule right in our own repo. That's pretty cool. So you have the option now. This is ACMM, but you also have others like full send, AEF, and reflect. And those don't necessarily attribute themselves easily to the levels that are in ACMM, but they are part of a holistic and solution for feedback loops, and we recognize that. So it even gives you advice on what kinds of things you should focus on next. So things like automated issue generation, which we already have, but this isn't detecting it right now because we use a different thing. So I might update that to include what we use. Multi-agent orchestration, guilty of it. We don't have that right now. We more or less use one agent to do most of the work. Things like merge queues, reflection log, we don't have a rollback drill. We don't have. So this is properly detected. At least 4 out of the 5 are missing. One of which is mischaracterized or misdiscovered. So this is essentially how that ACMM works. The result of this is you can get a badge, and this is what you saw that I showed you just as we started this. For your specific project, you can get a badge and put it in your repo so that others are aware of what you're doing in order to implement feedback loops in your repositories to in your repo to allow you to become a better potential for better maintenance of your project and faster velocity, the ability to compete with the big boys, so to speak, right? So to smaller projects have the option now to implement more agent maintenance and sustainability such that they can go ahead and create features that compete with other projects that are in the same space. So the consumer wins in the end, the open source consumer, such that they have more options now instead of just a few to pick from for their what they believe they need in terms of a solution. So that's the gist of the AI code-based maturity model. I think with that, I've got a few other things that have come that have been introduced in the past week, but I think for now, yeah, I think we'll stop there. There's a new update mechanism that was introduced that'll give you an alert when an update is available for either the agent or for the console itself. And so that's useful for people that want to keep up to date with the latest drops from our releases at night and weeklies and PR by PR. So that's about all I have for you today. Does anybody have any questions or comments, concerns they'd like to bring up at this time? I'll open the forum for the next 4 minutes. Anybody has anything they'd like to impart? Oh, there was one more thing that I forgot. This week we also introduced a whole bunch of, let's see if I have it in front of me here. We introduced a whole bunch of local LLMs. So let me see if it's up and available and if I can show you what it looks like. There it is. Okay. So let me share this. We've also introduced a whole bunch of LLMs, local LLMs. So for those of you that aren't comfortable with using Claude, Antigravity, Bob, Copilot, or Codex, we now have the option for you to use LM Studio, Olama, Goose, local AI, Open Web UI, Open Router, Red Hat's AI inference server, VLLM, and we also are just adding Ramalama right now. So for those of you that are security conscious or don't want your prompts going out over the interwebs, we now have a whole host of local LLM support that you can use. Yeah, that you can use with the console. So you can install console as a local host. You can also use it with local agents, and therefore you don't have to worry about your information from your clusters escaping and running wild in the interwebs. Okay, That about does it for me. Okay, folks. So if you have any comments or questions, drop things inside the meeting. Open issues in our console. We really need more issues, especially from a user experience perspective that helps us grow. We want to make sure we're doing the right thing for our customers. If you have any ideas about how console might be used for other purposes, I had somebody come to me today and ask me about the possibility of using this as a new Linux distribution that they're putting together, if it could be used as the settings page or as the welcome page for so that they can manage and monitor and configure their Linux distribution within inside of it. So that was a pretty cool idea. So look for more of this to come. We're up to 11 adopters in our adopters.md file. That file keeps growing. I think we should have number 12 a little later today. We're also looking for people that would like to use this in their enterprise as well as in their business. So if you have any ideas about how to approach or work with those people, we'd love to hear more about it. There's information about how to use your affiliate ID, which is essentially a URL for the console, the demo console, with your GitHub ID at the end, so that we can give you points and associate progress of the console with you. I think if I can bring it up real quick, that's the last thing I'll show. We can put up leaderboard. Okay. Yeah, that's it. So here, we'll show you the leaderboard. So the leaderboard now has a social column, which is not being filled out, wouldn't you know it? Let's see if I refresh, if it comes back. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So if you use your affiliate ID, you get honorable mention here with items associated with you that people have looked at your post on social media and have clicked on a link. So if you'd like to be part of that, look in the KubeStellar-dev channel. There's instructions on how to use your affiliate ID to do this. Okay. And with that, I am now done. So everybody have a great weekend. We look forward to seeing you in another 2 weeks. Thanks for your time today.